Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be looking at Gacha's next video about the real reason he hated Rover and rooted for Phrolova in Wuthering Waves 2.5 story dissection or discussion. I was planning to do a video like this myself, where I talk about the reason, like why I think, because I made this very clear on a recent Twitter post, and I got a lot of backlash for it. I think Rover's personality took a step back in this patch. Like their character development, their entire story arc, it took a massive step back as a cost for everything else about the story to be taken a step further. Like there have been more stakes, there have been more challenging, enemies. Like Phrolova, for example, is a really hard antagonist to have. The story was really good. The stakes were high. We got more information on the Fraxosidus. We got more information on the Grand Architect. We got more information on the previous iterations of Phrolova. Everything about this new story was peak, except the way Rover interacts and the way they act. And this is why I wanted to see this video and see what Mr. Gachasmack over here thinks. And I'm gonna be pausing the video and giving my own take on the subject as we go. So yeah, let's just begin already. Here we go.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video by yours truly. With the latest release of the 2.5 story, there's been a lot of polarization occurring between the community. There's been a lot of discontent, a lot of argumentation, which I think is healthy, by the way, for the space.
The community was really up in flames after 2.5 came out.
Good storytelling finally surfacing here in
really good
ways.
storytelling.
As I like to tell people all the time, with death, real stakes at hand, real sacrifice, people with real convictions clashing, becomes a actual thought-provoking story.
It's a very thought-provoking story, indeed. Okay, but I want to just put one last thing about this intro, because I've like skimmed through the video before. I know what some points that he's going to bring up, but I wanted to talk about it like in a more in-depth way. As a relatively new lore CC, I've been doing my research about Phrolova for a while. I've been theorizing about it. Most of my theories actually came true to be like real, and they actually, turned out to predict the entirety of the 2.5 story and Phrolova's background and everything. But that's besides the point. What I was going to talk about right now is death and about true death. I just want to make this very clear for everyone watching. Phrolova isn't dead. She's not dead. Her body is not dead. Her soul is not dead. Her frequency is not dead. She's not a reverberation. She's not like the villagers. All of that misinformation, just leave it out the window before you continue this video, because Phrolova did not die at the end of 2.5. She's still alive. Her body is still alive. Her mind is still alive. Everything about her is still alive. What happened is the lost beyond with all the frequencies in it, she was they basically fused within her body to anchor the world itself into her body, so that it doesn't break away and completely evaporate when the Leviathan gem is not, because the lack of the Leviathan gem. Because Phrolova basically said that she can maintain the Sonoro. It's not a problem for her to like maintain the Sonoro itself, the world, the houses, the entire thing. She can't. There's no problem with that. She can maintain it forever. It's her realm. She created it. Just like the arena for Hecate. That's also a Sonoro. When we fight Hecate there, she can maintain that area indefinitely. What she can't maintain is the frequencies within, the people inside, the reverberations of her family and friends. She can't maintain those without using or patching them up with Tethys Discord frequencies and stuff like that. And after the 2.5 story, basically what she was trying to do there in the entire patch is get the gem so that she can give them stable, permanent bodies and fuse them with Tethys Discord in a stable way, so that they don't lose their sense of self and they don't go crazy. That's all there is to it. Because she lost the gem, now she can't do that, but she can maintain the Sonoro forever by fusing it by using her body as the anchor. So what she's doing here is keeping her body as an anchor for the Sonoro, and the people inside are still going to fade away. They can't stay there forever. Because if it was possible for her to simply use her body as a anchor to keep the people alive forever, then she would have done so from the beginning. She wouldn't need any type of Discord. She wouldn't need the gems. She wouldn't. You really think Phrolova wouldn't mind just like resting somewhere and just letting her body be the anchor for the world forever? Why would she ever go for the gem if that's what she needs? Basically, what's happening here is that she's using she's basically when she fell into the abyss and and her body when she fell into the abyss and the frequencies gathered around her and she was like, I'm sorry, and then I've come home. Basically, what happened is that she's apologizing for losing her only chance at bringing them to life, and what she's doing is she's going to spend the rest of their lives with them. So they're gonna have like a very limited time still in the Sonoril because their vibrations are fading, and they're gonna eventually fade away and go and leave because she's no longer gonna patch them up with Tacit Discords. Her obsession is over. The revival is not happening anymore. So she's just going to let them go, and they're all going to fade away one by one until there is no one else left in the Sonoro, at which point Phrolova can just separate and go on her separate way to do whatever the hell she wants. That's all I wanted to say. There was no real death, except maybe Fenrico. Fenrico is debatably really dead, but it's still like a different perspective, because instead you're gonna stay there with the first Primus's Pangu terminal, to like defend against the dark tide. That makes sense, I guess. But I don't think I think he might be dead. I think he might be dead, but he's not playable, so that's not the point. Phrolova is alive. Her body is fine. Her mind is fine. She's just resting there. She doesn't want to come back right now to spend the rest of her of the days that are left for her family with them, so that when they finally fade away, she doesn't have any regrets anymore. That's all there is to it. Let's just continue the video, and sorry for the yapathon.
Shit, it's awesome. Am I pissed that Phrolova's out? Yep, but I wouldn't want to.
Phrolova isn't out. That's what I'm saying.
Look at all this discussion that's happening. Look at all this debate that's occurring. It's good. It's good shit. It actually can grow a community as well.
Indeed. I'm gonna just put the video on.
I want to talk to you guys about like my
1.5 speed.
Personal thoughts on why I think Rover's a hypocrite and a little bitch.
And I also want to that's true. That's true.
For Phrolova, and what's interesting is I don't think anybody that's rooting for Phrolova, which there's a lot of us, are rooting for her because we think she's right. In fact,
yeah, we don't think she's right. She's wrong. She's completely wrong. She's
lost her sanity and she's obsessed to a detriment. We're rooting for her more so because we understand how she arrived at that point.
Yes. Okay, and this is what I want to say something about Phrolova. She's wrong. She's completely wrong. The method she's using is not going to work. Like Rover said, she's basically not creating a paradise. She's creating a hell by using Tacit Discords as the conduits for their revival. That is not right, and that it will never work. It will never bring them back. The point that Rover is wrong about is the fact that they can never come back. That is extremely, an extreme take that has no basis on reality whatsoever. He literally just used Imperator as a conduit to revive Cartithia from certain death. She was dead, and he brought her back to life using Imperator's dying frequency. He just revived the person in the couple of and I think it was like 2.2. I think 2.2. He just in Avenolium he revived Cartithia. He just did revive that person. Now he's saying death frequencies cannot come back to life no matter what. Like what? What are you talking about? You just revived the person using a sentinel. You can that's not even Imperator's forte or like their domain. They can't. They don't have anything to do with death and life. Imagine if there is a sentinel whose entire gimmick, their entire domain is death and life. What would you do? What would you do then? Then you've just dismissed this poor girl's like multitude years of research, multitude methods of revival, and you just dismissed them and just said, no, there's actually no way. No, you're just wrong. You're just straight up wrong. I'm sorry. You're just wrong. You're just wrong, and gave no arguments whatsoever. That's where I disagree with Rover. It makes no sense for him to say that. It makes absolutely no sense for him to reject the entire ideal of a revival because he just did it last patch. It makes zero sense. Let's continue.
And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. for her perspective, and then I want to talk to you about why I'm at odds with fucking Rover, bro. Oh my god, he's so cringe right now, and it has a lot to do with
indeed, he is very cringe
and a bit condescending and getting on a high horse. He's not
yeah, absolutely. He spent the entire conversation with the entire time with Phrolova, basically since they arrived. The first thing they did is put the sword to her neck, and I agreed. She is in a hostile organization. She did extreme things before, but to Rover themselves, she never actually killed a person directly in front of them. And according to earlier lines from a side story from the Flames in the Deep story, Lenore says that Rover thinks that Phrolova isn't all that bad and that there is depth to her character. This is before, or within the time frame that she assisted them in the Septimon story. She directly assisted them. And so at this point, after all these hints, after all these little interactions that they had, you'd think that at least Rover would give her, a little bit, a speck of the doubt, not immediately raise the sword at her neck and, go for the kill or whatever. The first thing they did is put a sword to her neck, which is really, really crazy to me. That was completely out of character for me. They would at least go, what the hell, dude, what are we doing here? What's going on? Why am I here? They would not immediately put the sword up to her neck. That's kind of crazy. It's not Rover's doing, It's not what Rover would do. The Rover that we've had so far, that's not what they would do. But that's besides the point. In the entire 2.5 quest, you can see Rover clearly antagonizing Phrolova. They're going crazy on her. They're giving her no chance to explain herself. And even when she does explain herself, they just gloss over it and dismiss the entire thing as, nah, that's evil. You shouldn't be doing that. Nope. Wrong. Nope. Nah. No, I shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. That's just an illusion. That's just the Phraxicidas made you do this. The Grand Architect is lying to you. The Phraxicidas made you do that. You're ruthless. You're a killer. It's kind of crazy, It just went full on ham on her and just put their fingers in their ears and refused to hear her out no matter what she says. Continue the video.
I want to get into that, but before we do, yes, there will be some spoilers. So if you've already watched
obviously spoilers.
And come back after you've watched it.
If you're watching this without playing the story, I don't know what to tell you, right?
One of the biggest problems I had in the playthrough was a line he told to Phrolova, and it was a very spiteful, piercing line. He said that she didn't understand the value of human life.
Yes, that was crazy to me. That was insane for him to say that. She didn't value the life. She doesn't understand the value of human life. Really. I mean, look, I can see the arguments being made. Again, she did trample over other people's lives for her own selfish, quote-unquote, selfish reasons. Not really selfish reasons. It's to bring her dead loved ones back to life. That is understandable. But it's also wrong for Rover to be saying this because of what Gacha Smack is going to say about Shorekeeper and about Cartithia. They literally did the exact same thing. So how can they claim that what she's doing is not understanding the value of human life? Are you okay in the head? You literally just saved Shorekeeper at the cost of potentially thousands, if not millions, of human lives in the future, because now Tethys system cannot. We don't know if it even can function anymore, let alone function correctly. And Cartithia is now being, corrupted by the Thermodians. So congratulations, what you've done by saving those two people is potentially doom literally thousands of people, if not more. Let's continue.
I thought that was the most repulsive, insulting shit that
yes, exactly. And this is the thing, right? Since their interactions, Phrolova has been dropping hints on Rover, right? She's been dropping hints, she's been trying to expose herself to him, to be vulnerable to him. She's been telling him her reasons, she's been trying to convince him, she's been trying to show him her past, trying to show him the promise, trying to show him everything that led to her joining the Fractucitus, trying to explain to him her position, trying to make him understand. And what is she... Rover doesn't have to say, oh, yeah, right, you're right, you know what? You're right, I'm just going to let you do what you want because da. That's not true. That's not what Rover should be doing. But he also shouldn't be just dismissing everything. He should be listening, should be paying attention, and they should be empathetic towards what's going on because they have a direct hand in her demise. Basically, they've done the way they broke their promise to her completely annihilated her character, and that's what led her down towards the Fractidus and everything that she did post joining the Fractidus. Let's keep going.
This motherfucker has been living in a Disney movie the entire Wuthering Waves playthrough.
Yep.
Little bro has
Yep. Well, no, I will disagree here. It's not really a Disney movie. They still had some pretty shocking moments, like in the story, where they had to act out, to act pretty decisively. And they also need to kill people. If you remember, in the Flames of the Deep, they were the ones to put down all the three. One gladiator, the other one just vanished. I guess the daughter was just vanished. But the father, he had to put him down, and the Medulius, he was the one to put him down too. He ended up having to kill them with his own hands. And that's, what I'm saying. It's not exactly. It's not a Disney movie, but it's pretty much they have been portrayed as the hero who saves everyone, and they themselves have stated in the Shorekeeper patch that they don't want to leave anyone behind. They're basically a Disney hero protagonist, but a Disney movie protagonist, but like it's not exactly a Disney movie. Yeah? So this is the part I'll agree about. The world is pretty screwed, and there have been a lot of moments where Rover had to act decisively. But again, it still doesn't explain their behavior in 2.5.
Experienced no L's, nothing but W's. He's had no sacrifice and no loss ever since he's wiped his memory.
No sacrifice and no loss. Yes, you're right. You're correct. Katithia did the sacrifice herself for him, but he just brought her back. They just brought her back, so it doesn't even matter.
And so, for somebody like that, who I would compare to some Beverly Hills...
Yeah, here's the thing. If Katithia stayed dead, then he would experience a fraction of what happened to Phrolova. He would experience a fraction of the emotions that Phrolova went through. That's what I'm saying, because Katithia was revived, he doesn't understand anything about Phrolova.
Spoiled brat with a gold spoon in his mouth. To go and tell somebody...
Yeah, debatable, but yeah,
everything.
basically.
She lost her family. She lost her civilization from her town.
Yes, and what did he lose? He lost nothing. He lost nothing. He lost his memories. That's it. So basically, he doesn't understand Phronova's perspective whatsoever. He can't even begin to imagine her lament. He can't even begin to imagine her mourning. He can't even begin to imagine her sadness. And then he comes up to her and just puts on this white cape and comes on a white horse and says, "You know what? You are wrong." While in the same character, this Rover, when Imperator confessed to him that, my lord, my liege, I have sinned, I have fused with the Theranoidian, I have thrown my mission away, and basically I caused the death of so many people because of a decision I made. Was I wrong? And what did the Rover say? What did the Rover say to the Imperator? I can't judge you because I wasn't part of it. I can't judge you based on something that I haven't experienced. I don't know if the ends justify the means. That's all that they said. But to Phrolova, whom they have literally no idea about how much pain and how much experiences she went through, she was... They judge her like, no problem, let's judge this girl. But the Imperator, nope. You know what, that's fine. Anyways.
And just obliterated everyone and only kept her alive. She didn't experience countless amounts of failures trying to get these people back. But before that point, actually, you know what? I'm skipping ahead. Before we even get to that point, she then got used and abused by scientists in an effort to try and bring forth immortality. Not her, the scientist. She was just...
Yes. She was abused by the scientists. She was abused by the villagers. She was, let me think. Basically, she went through an entire arc while trying to be righteous, to try to bring her people back without any sacrifices, any sort of thing. But everyone was basically shitting on her. No one understood her.
Trying to figure out a way to bring back her family. She then got shunned by people from the town who she was still trying to scientifically experience or test how to bring...
She was asking them about wave-worn phenomenons, like the like the rain from the Ovathrax and the Dark Tide from Leviathan. She was just asking around, and people just shunned her and basically labeled her a witch and basically even attacked her. You can see in the CG, you can see damage marks on her body. It's pretty crazy to me, like that how that happened. And people still think that she's unredeemably evil and that she's unjustifiable and that people come on, man, come on. If that happened to you, you'd do way worse. You'd do way worse than what she did.
About reincarnation, which I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, he's an idiot. That's a fool's errand.
Yes, it's a fool's errand. I agree. The way she's going about it is wrong. The way she's going about it, the way that she wants those people to come back to, fusion with Tethys. But then again, that's also understandable because it's her personal experience. She was dead and was brought back to life through a fusion with a TD. So that literally happened. It happened with her. She died, and because she fused with Hecate, she was able to come back to life. Alongside her resonance awakening, of course. Now her body is immortal because Hecate just regenerates, and her mind is still the same. She didn't lose her sanity. She didn't lose her individuality. She's fine. Now in the Black Shard's reports, we can see that this awakening, this resonance awakening, is so unique that it cannot be replicated with anyone else. But she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. She's just trying to replicate what had already happened to her through fusion with the Tethys Discord with the people that she lost. So she's just trying to understand. If Rover came up to her and was like, you know what, there is this other way that we can try, where we don't, instead of fusing them with the Discord, we can try to find a different anchor or a different conduit to fuse them with. Like I already did that with Cartithia and Imperator, so maybe there's another way. Problem solved. She literally has no reason to continue in this specific risky maneuver while there's an infinitely safer way that is much more possible. Instead of helping her, Rover chose to shun her, which is why so many people are upset about him. Let's continue.
In an innocent way. No corrupt bullshit or any of that. She was just merely trying to search the fucking highest of heavens to figure out if there was a way to bring her back.
Yes, true.
And I want you guys to just take a second and bear with us here, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. But
true.
Losing your entire family
Yep.
and everyone surrounding your town in a single meteor blast, with you being the only...
I would probably, no joking, I would probably end it all in Minecraft. I mean, I would probably end it all if that happened to me. I don't know about you guys, if my entire life was turned upside down because everybody I know and everybody in my vicinity suddenly died and I'm the only survivor and I can still hear them and see them, I would probably not want to live either. I don't know, like, she actually managed to have the fortitude to continue on living to find a way to bring them back. That's admirable. That's actually an admirable character trait. Instead of just giving up and dying, or ending it all, she chose to live on and try to bring them back, which is very, very admirable from an outsider's perspective. Let's continue with the video.
One left. That's a level of trauma you could say.
Yes.
No
one will experience. Basically, no one will experience.
That's a 1 in 10 billion.
So, on a much larger scale, this is what happened to Emiyashiro from the Fate series, and look how twisted he became from being a survivor. And this is just on a small scale. It's like a smaller part of the city was destroyed, and he was the only one surviving. And basically, after that, he became a complete. He has no self-esteem, no desire to live. He just wants to save everybody, and that's it. But that guy is a protagonist, and Phrolova is a villain. There you go. Anyways,
traumatic event, right? And so, of course, it did a lot of damage to her. But did she go off the deep end immediately? Absolutely
no.
not. Fact,
she lived on. Yes.
And started playing with her violin and doing shows until she ran into the fucking rover who told her to start over.
Yes. This part right here, this is what drove her to the deep end. And so many people just choose to ignore this because I don't know what their reasoning is. But the fact that Rover walked up to her, on one of her concerts and was like, "You can just start over. I started over so many times already, and it's actually pretty fine." She's like, "Oh really? I can start over. Maybe he's right. Maybe there is a way by starting over. Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Maybe I can still bring them back if I find a different perspective. If I go." And you know what the next perspective she found is? The Fractsidus who were right there. They came up to her and was like, "You know what? There is a way to bring them back." They showed her the daughter, not the daughter, her sister. They showed her Triss, and they were like, come join us. We have technology. We have everything that you could possibly ask for. There is a way to bring them back, but you have to be with us. Would you ever say that this isn't justifiable? The rover basically drove her towards that by disappearing right after. If they stayed behind, if they stayed there, if they were true to their promise, and they came back before they wiped their memories and had a little talk with her, maybe things would have been different. Maybe she wouldn't have joined the Fractals, because I don't know. It's not like the rover has an exactly the exact opposite organization as their their followers. It's not like they have an advanced system who can predict where the lament will happen. It's not like they had connection with sentinels that can rewind time and split space and potentially even bring back the dead. Who knows? You know what? It's not like they had that. It's just they're just a little bit silly. They make a promise, they break it. It's fine. This is why people hate the rover, man. This is why they hate them in this last chapter. They're so despicable for just driving her off the deep end. It's Rover who drove her off the deep end. She was fine. She almost moved on, but then Rover just came back and was like, just start over, man. It's easy. Just start over. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
I just continue. You just do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll save that for the review. That's a whole other thing. What I'm trying to tell you guys, though, is Phrolova, as we all know, has had a very tragic past.
Yes.
So a lot of people are rooting for her because they understand that she isn't evil.
Yes, she isn't evil.
She's in pain.
She's in pain. Indeed, she isn't evil. She's not a villain. She's an antagonist. Phrolova is not... Many people... I've seen this happen so many times. It's actually ridiculous. She isn't Hitler. She isn't that Austrian painter who's he was rejected from art school, and so he suddenly chose to start the Second World War and killed thousands because of his own twisted ideals of superiority and whatever. She isn't that. She isn't a villain. She isn't evil. She has reasons for what she's doing. She isn't... how do I say it? She isn't doing this because it's fun. She isn't doing this because she thinks those lives don't matter. She knows they matter. She knows that the life she's taking are basically a price she needs to pay to bring back her loved ones. And who knows, maybe she even has plans to put the life she took in the Lost Beyond as well, where they can get to live where they also get to be revived eventually. So she's not taking anyone's lives, and you don't after all the pain, after all the suffering she has to go through. That's a very reasonable outcome, not gonna lie to you. Instead of just choosing to end the entire world, as I would possibly do if I had that much power at the palm of my hand. But anyways.
She's in despair. She's lost a lot.
Yes.
And she just grew obsessed and unfortunately went off the deep end, right? But for a girl
exactly,
like that to be who she is today, which is this fucking villain in Wuthering Waves, especially in a game where we never really get to see any real villains. Her and Cristoforo are the real fucking first villains we really got to see.
Yeah, kind of.
But we all know that she's wrong, absolutely. But here's the thing.
Well, I'm gonna add a little point here. This is my perspective on things. I don't think in Wuthering Waves' story there are any real villains or any real evil people. Because the main villain of the entire story isn't the Resonators, it isn't the normal people, it isn't the Grand Architect. Oh, while we don't know much about them, maybe it could be them. But right now, with the information we have, the real villain that needs to be stopped is the lament itself, the actual phenomenon that comes out of nowhere and just destroys everything for no reason, for no seemingly no reason, and there are no demons that follow it. Those are the real villains. Those are the real antagonists. Everyone else is just going about their solutions in different ways.
Rover had low tier aura in how he handled that whole interaction, and
exactly.
I think that's why everybody is on his ass right now. Even the way he threw that line at her, he threw
it. It was. Basically, what they appear to have done is they lost the argument, so they resorted to violence, which is the worst type of interaction you can have in a diplomatic interaction, where you just talk, you're debating, you lose the debate, so you put your hands on the opponent. That's the worst thing that you can actually do, and that immediately paints you as the loser of the entire interaction because you lost you were brought to a point where you had to use your hands instead of your mouth to defeat your opponents. There's no debate that Rover lost that battle, and it lost it even further by delivering the fatal blow to her body.
Spite the you don't understand the value.
Yes, exactly, and they spoke in such a way that it was pretty much condescending, pretty much villainous in a way. It basically cut off all her hopes. Which brings me to a different point. Which is that Phrolova was not really set in stone. She wasn't 100% sure that her way is the right way. She wasn't, unshakable, undebatable, or anything like that. She had a point. She made her points, and she was like, "Go ahead, break them. Show me that I'm wrong." And Rover failed to do that because throughout the entire interaction, since they first met, they spoke, and Rover was throwing bombshells at her, attacking her, going after her for every little thing, calling her names like ruthless, like she's calling her that like basically he was attacking her, and whenever she tried to be vulnerable with them, whenever she tried to like show them her past, give them like a little bit of vulnerability from her side, they just continuously doubted her and pointed fingers at her, accusing her of things. Like, especially that part when like she showed them the promise and they got to experience it in first person, They said the same exact lines as the ones they saw in the letter. They made the promise again, and they were like, "Holy shit! It is me who said the promise to her all those years ago. It is me who is the friend that she's lamenting not meeting again. Nah, that can't be right. She must be tricking me. There's no way she's right. There's no way she's telling the truth." And then, after they ask her, did anything that you just showed me is right? And she's like, "It doesn't matter." Bro, why would she say it doesn't matter? Because you doubted it and you didn't believe her. She was hoping you'd believe her and was hoping you'd remember at least a little bit of what your past self did. And you just basically accused her of being a liar. How would anyone feel about this? Like, he's trying to reason with you and you're just pointing fingers at her. So obviously it's not gonna work out. Anyways, let's continue the video.
He said that because she clocked his little punk ass.
Yes, exactly.
He was like, "You've gone too far." And she's like, "That's funny, coming from somebody who has immortality, endless possibilities, has built up all types of insurmountable precious memories, and you wiped them all."
True.
You know what I'm saying? This is coming from you. That's when you got mad and said you don't understand the value of human life.
Yes, he was
bro was
pissed.
losing aura points as the debate went on. And there was so much hypocrisy there. I already explained to you.
Yes, again, the hypocrisy.
Life hypocrisy. Now let's talk about the "you've gone too far" hypocrisy, as well as the memory wipe and all that stuff. Memory wipe. Who's to say he didn't wipe? Because we don't know, right?
It doesn't matter what was his reason. It doesn't matter whatsoever, because first off, he said, "No matter what, I will fulfill my promise. No matter what." When we make a promise, when you're the master, like Rover is not just another guy. Rover is not just some guy like she met in a concert and that's it. Rover is the master arbiter, a godlike being who commanded the sentinels that people worship. He should be basically his word should be law, and people should be respecting them for that. And then what did they do? They made a promise and then they broke it, just like that. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the reason is for them breaking the promise. It doesn't matter what the reason is. The facts are these: he made a promise and said, "No matter what, I will fulfill it," and he didn't fulfill it. That's their fault. There's nothing else to debate. It's their fault. It's completely their fault there. And no amount of arguing with that point will save them. It's their complete point there. Complete fault. They're at fault for not fulfilling that promise.
Who's to say he didn't wipe his memory? Because he went through a pain similar to hers. And
That's true. But it doesn't matter. That's the point. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Even if it was to save the entire planet, it should have at least spared a moment. Maybe write a letter. Maybe say something. Maybe make a call. It doesn't matter what the reason is, as long as it could have been so easily fulfilled and they chose not to fulfill it.
That's a possibility, and if it did, it makes them all the more the hypocrite because this girl's been living with it for like hundreds of years. So that's one possibility. There's only so many ways for you to wipe your memory too. We can sit here and concoct it all, but the point still stands. Wiping a memory is like there's so many relationships and things that occurred that you're just throwing behind. Phrolova was just one of a potential of people, a plethora of people possible. You just throw all that shit behind. It's cowardice, and it's also hypocrisy. But the you've gone too far line. That's what I want to get into. And what sucks is I know a lot of you guys watching this haven't been locked in and informing yourself on the story.
I'm very locked in. I'm very locked in. I've been... Look, ever since Phrolova was announced to be playable, I went through her entire background, made a lot of theories, made a lot of things to say. You know, basically, my idea of her character was that she was a double agent this entire time, that she was secretly helping Rover while also assisting the Tethys in a way. And while 2.5, like with 2.4 like coming out, and we got Phrolova directly helping the Rover and basically claiming that they shouldn't be enemies all the time. I concocted to myself this theory that she might unironically be assisting the Rover behind the scenes, and while also doing her own thing with the Tethys. Now ultimately that got debunked. But the idea is, I went through her every line of dialogue, went through every little interaction she had with the Rover, and understand her personality, at least to a certain extent, you know? More than any other player that would be casually playing through the story.
Some of the variables of the story that tie into the story's ever-progressing stage. Right now, you've gone too far line for me. I think he gone too far with Shorekeeper. I thought he went too far with
Yes, that's what I said.
Was the worst fucking decisions he ever made. In fact, they were anything but greater good decisions.
Yes. With the Shorekeeper, there's a line that he said, "I won't leave anybody behind." And with Cartithia, he was like, "I hear your request, but I'll prefer to do this my way." Say that to Phrolova. I hear your request. Look, I know your desire is to revive all these people, but let's try to do it in a different way that doesn't involve, I don't know, the Dark Tide, reviving the Threnodian. Let's give it another shot, in a different way. She literally said in the debates that she isn't afraid of starting over. She isn't afraid of starting over and trying again. So all that Rover had to do is convince her that there's a different, safer way of reviving those people, but they failed to do that. That's the entire core of the problem here. They failed to convince her, and in fact, I wouldn't even say failed. They didn't even try to convince her. They dismissed the entire thing as just bullshit. And it isn't bullshit because he just revived Cartithia the other patch. Revival is possible in the world of Wuthering Waves. They just need a specific conduit, and the frequency of the person and the body. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let's keep going. Opposite. If you guys understand how the Tethys system works, I'm about to yap your ears off with this jargon for a bit. You'll probably appreciate it. The Tethys system is an anti-lament system in the Black Shores, and Shorekeeper was the core of this system's functionality.
Yeah, you're right.
It was also like a failsafe. The thing is, this system is designed to store lament and study it. It is like operating off of destructive, I would say, essence or emotions, pain and suffering and destruction and shit like that. It takes these, studies them, and then it's able to tell
Necrostars and all that crap.
Essentially, like the good side, if the fighting force, when lament is coming, even when it's life-threatening or extinction-threatening. This is a super-powered AI machine that was built by an ancient civilization, guys, to counteract the lament. And you know, like when you think of ancient civilizations, you think of the...
I mean... Shorekeeper had a vital role, but I guess vital? Yeah, vital role. Shorekeeper had a vital role, but also crucial. I'm guessing he meant here that Shorekeeper had a vital role in the Tethys system, but also crucial as a person. Which, not really. I mean, what she's doing right now in the Black Shores is leading the organization as a kind of a vice president of the organization while Rover is away. And Rover is back. He could lead the organization himself, so she's not really crucial as a person. She could be in the as the core as well, which is, you know, kind of crazy that Rover went to save her at the cost of thousands or potentially millions of people in the future.
Highest form of intelligence, similar to like what people like to talk about in real life. Like the ancient civilizations are the ones who have the fucking craziest tech. Know it. They had a personal connection, so he saved her.
So he saved her because they basically had a personal connection and they were moved emotionally because, is that love? And then she just disappears. I don't know, man. The hypocrisy is being crazy here. Like, it's very shown. And Rover is being portrayed as very flawed all of a sudden. I'm not against the idea of Rover being flawed, but if they're going to consistently follow a single narrative, a single line, that they're not leaving anybody behind, that they're saving everybody that they can, then stick to that. The ideal. Don't just immediately abandon it for seemingly zero reasons. That doesn't make any sense, neither narratively nor characteristically, for Rover to do that.
But in saving her, he took the core of the Tethys system out.
Yes.
And then told the Tethys system, reprogrammed it, and said,
yes,
hey, instead of operating on destruction, fear, pain,
yes,
misery,
that doesn't make zero
sense.
sense.
We're going to take your core out too, and now you're going to operate on harmony and like selling off into the rainbow, essentially.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make sense. They still haven't explained how that works. They haven't explained how really that's going to function or whatever, because the lament is based on human negative emotions. So how are you going to predict the lament while you're not studying human negative emotions? How are you predicting the lament to positive emotions? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe through like a reverse engineered way, where like if basically the negative and positive emotions are part of a single whole circle, and you're studying like if you're studying the 50% that was the lament, that was the negative emotions, you can retroactively study the other 50% that is the positive emotions. So if you're studying now the positive emotions, you can also retroactively study the other 50% that is the negative emotions. It's kind of convoluted, and we have no idea how it works. But if that's possible, then maybe they have a point. But again, Rover had no reason to believe that would work. So yeah, like what Gacha Smack here is saying is true.
Just like to sum it up, he pretty much changed the very functionality, the full optimization of protecting humanity against the fucking lament, battling the lament with the highest form of AI intelligence and safeguard. Yes. He obliterated that by saving some people. That is the biggest fucking form of hypocrisy that I have ever seen, because he absolutely remembers.
Okay, again, for some reason my audio got disconnected, so let me just go back a little bit and continue the reaction from there. My bad.
For doing that later on. Cartithia is another fucking consequence.
Yes,
I feel like
Cartithia,
low-key going in this direction. We're cooking early, but I just want to I want you guys to be aware of the hypocrisy of this fucking dude. He never chose the greater good before. He's only choosing it right now because he got fucking cooked in a debate and he's salty.
Yes.
and he's not for the first time. He's being selfish again. Not greater good. He's just being selfish.
Basically what Gacha Smack is trying to say here is, because he revived Cartithia and because he saved Shorekeeper, Rover didn't choose the greater good in any of those two situations. So why is he choosing it right now? All of a sudden. Why is he choosing it now? Rover didn't leave Shorekeeper behind because the world needs the Tethys system. He didn't let Cartithia die because she might resurrect the Terinodian, or she might be used as a vessel to resurrect the Terinodian. That's what the Gacha Smack is trying to say here. So he only chose the greater good at this moment because he's dealing with Phrolova, and I understand why he would do this, because he doesn't trust Phrolova. He doesn't trust her one bit, which again boils down to the argument that why isn't he trusting Phrolova? Why is he that distrustful of her and dismissing everything that has anything to do with her as deception and as lies? While in two previous interactions that they had, they know that there is something deeper than just deception and lies going on with her, and B, she directly helped him by giving him the script. And while now we know that it was a plan to give him the script with Cristoforo being involved in everything, but before that, Rover has no idea. Rover doesn't know that she was planning with Cristoforo. He only knows that she gave him the script and told him the right way to move, and told him like what to do. If he killed Lupa, then that's it. The story would have been over. The play would have been ended. He didn't kill Lupa. He didn't follow her advice. But he did use the script that she gave him. So at least in that regard, he at least believed her. Gave her like a little bit of the doubt. He formulated a plan to kill Lupa as a plan B. So he did trust her even a little bit. But now all of a sudden, even that little bit of trust doesn't exist anymore. And he was, even at the part where they got separated by the lasers, and He refused to cooperate with her until she gave him her baton, the symbol of her power and the symbol of her life. If anything happens with that baton, you could even conclude that she might, her power might malfunction and the great beyond might be lost or something. Until she gave him that, he didn't even believe her, and that was like, it's kind of too much. Like it's too much distrust. It's too much suspicion. A little bit of suspicion would make sense, but that's way too much suspicion.
Because he's salty about fucking Phrolova, but Carthathia saving her was another selfish act. If he would have killed her, even Carthathia herself understood that her living meant being a risk to humanity because the Threnodian can always potentially corrupt her. She's a perfect vessel. The Threnodian has immortality. It doesn't go no fucking where. But the thing is, the Threnodian has to have a vessel, and not everybody can be its vessel. In fact, they experimented with the Threnodian for like thousands of goddamn years, and they couldn't find a single vessel that can match with him. You know who can? Carthathia. And him choosing to save her, 2 different times, there's danger for this. For humanity's sake, by the way. Or we can just say Renacita. Let's put it on a smaller scale. Renacita's sake, it's a threat, what he did. First, it's a threat because if he would have lost that battle against Fleur-de-Lis, because that was the other alternative, fight Fleur-de-Lis, right? If he'd have lost that battle, well, then it's just right. Renacita, everybody got killed.
Gacha Smack is totally right here. It's at 2 points, Rover made a decision, and at 2 points, that decision is directly against the greater good. A, he refused to kill Carthathia, and B, he refused to, he revived Carthathia after she died. I hear your request, but I prefer to do this my way. Your way was not the greater good. Your way wasn't the right option. What you did was selfish, and you only revived Carthathia because you liked her. You didn't want her to die. That's all there is to it.
Just killing Carthathia, who told him to do it, and just avoiding that entirely and sealing the Threnodian away for who knows how many years until they find another vessel. That could be like thousands of years. You chose the lesser good option, risking humanity because once again you had a hard-on for fucking Fleur-de-Lis. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. You can sit here and deny that, Rover Copers, but that's the truth. He chose the more riskier option. And the only reason he won the battle...
It's factually correct. And you can debate the semantics behind it all you want in the comments or and anywhere, but the factual truth is that killing Carthathia had put humanity in more danger than it would be for her to stay alive. That's all there is to it.
It was because Carthathia sacrificed herself. That's what he would have lost. Bro would have got his ass whipped by Fleur-de-Lis. I'm getting heated up in here. I'm just saying that was a risky move. And you know what? The move isn't done with, because we just learned in 2.5 that Carthathia / Fleur-de-Lis consumes frequencies all around her subconsciously, which means if it's corrupt, she consumes that shit too, subconsciously, which means she can let the Threnodian back in no problem. That's why she had to get sent off to the Black Shores for further testing to make sure everything's all right with her. But here's where the problem lies, boys. Here's where the problem lies, boys. All we have.
So basically what you have is a dysfunctional Tethys system, and Carthathia, who is absorbing frequencies, who has already absorbed the frequencies of the Threnodian, and is currently at risk of being corrupted by the Threnodian and being taken over by Leviathan. What could possibly go wrong?
You got Carthathia, perfect vessel for the Threnodian, at the Black Shores, where your dumbass took the core out of the Tethys system, and it's no longer optimizing on the highest degree. Now it's relying on humans to anticipate when limit is coming, and them humans ain't as smart as that super AI computer. So a crazy event's gonna happen. She gonna get corrupted, and the Tethys system not gonna be doing its job properly because your goofy ass wants to be Captain Save-A-Ho, both 2 times, and then you're gonna face an even greater calamity. Chat, I cannot prove none of this, right? I'm merely having a discussion to you, but
it's currently still in theory stage, but theories can come true. As I've proved before in the Twitter thread, I basically predicted the entire story of Phrolova. I went through every little detail through like her not being basically her being a musician from a town that got wiped out by a meteor strike. Basically her being a not a killer, but like putting those people's frequencies in within her body and within the lost beyond. And basically, her entire role in the 2.5 story is to get the gem for herself so that she can fashion new bodies for those people in a stable way so that they can come back to life and survive permanently without losing their sense of self and without losing their identities or their minds. Theories can be true, and this theory that Gacha Smack just put on forward has substantial evidence of it possibly being true, existing in the game, as being foreshadowed by Carthathia absorbing the Threnodian's frequencies, and the Black Shores Tethys system being dysfunctional right now. So yeah,
I don't have to prove it. It doesn't even have to come true. What I'm telling you is that the consequences of this guy's actions and the choices he made can put humanity at an even greater risk than Phrolova has ever done. All because this nigga was being selfish.
Well, look. If you factor in the part where Phrolova directly contributed to the early revival of, even though we don't know why they were planning to early revive, I don't think that was part of her plan. Basically, early revival of Ovathrax was probably the plan of the Fractidus as a whole, which is why Scar was there. It's basically, it was their plan to, because the Fractidus plan as professed by Scar himself, which cannot be exactly fully trusted, but it's Scar's words. So take this with a spoonful of salt. The Fractidus' goal in the story is to revive the Threnodians, all of them, because they will bring about the true laments, and through their unity, the true laments, humanity can evolve and live with the laments as one entity, or like not one entity, but as people who can survive alongside the laments. And they then won't have to worry about death or like outbreaks or whatever, because humanity can survive alongside all of that. That's basically the plan of the Fractidus, and what Phrolova was contributing to in the 1.0 updates.
And wanted to be Captain Save-A-Hole those 2 times, but didn't want to be Captain Save-A-Hole with Phrolova. Does that make sense? Now you see the hypocrisy here. Because it's like you're getting on your high horse looking at her like she's all, you're gonna do all this stuff, it's not good, you're creating a hell, brother. She's just trying to bring back her family and shit. But you over here putting the whole fucking world at risk for 2 women.
Indeed.
For your harem.
Literally.
You see what I'm saying, guys?
Well, not really for his harem, but like
and a hypocrite.
for people.
Now, at the end of the day, I think Rover will grow from this. And I think he's going to run into the same problem he's been running into by wiping his fucking memories. Because all these choices where he keeps trying to do this Disney movie shit and be this hero, I'm going to save everyone, leave no one behind.
Yeah, that didn't happen, by the way.
Or this Disney hero, naive fucking mentality that's going to cause even more despair for everyone, and lives are going to be lost based on the choices he's been making. If there's a good writer in the office, that's how it's going to come out. If there's a shit writer in the office, then we're never going to see these outcomes, because right now it doesn't make any sense. The Tethys system, once again, to end this off, functions. It pretty much fights lament by studying lament.
Yes.
This nigga straight up said, fuck studying lament, study flowers and happiness.
Yeah.
Brother,
yeah, that's crazy.
And,
that was crazy.
Too, so there's no fail-safe plan now.
Yes.
If shit hits the fan, well, you don't have a core anymore. It's like, bro, the lament's going to come in. Y'all are cooked. You know, it's all like, and then you got, once again, Carthethia in the Black Shores, potentially going to get corrupted. Oh, it's not looking good. It's not looking good
indeed.
Hypocrisy. That's what's going to sum it up. So that's my
hypocrisy.
Holy yapping, boys. Fuck, I went off there. It's very frustrating because I saw a lot of people sucking off the Rover like this motherfucker has done no wrong.
Yes, this is kind of it's not only sucking off the Rover, as you so eloquently put it. It's more like people can't accept that an MC can be wrong. It can be wrong. They can be wrong, and the writing might not be. Well, how do I phrase it in a way that doesn't offend anyone? Basically, what we did in this patch, what Rover did in this patch, is take a full 180 on everything that he did so far, and take a step back in character development. That's what I think. I think what would have developed, what people are thinking right now, was that because Rover refused Phrolova and treated her like she's a villain and everything, that this is character development and he's not trying to save her, blah blah blah, because he already tried to save other people and all that kind of stuff. I think that isn't character development. It just continues. That just him being continuing to be this self-righteous prick that always thinks that he's right and never wrong. Especially when he thought he was right by saving Shorekeeper. He thought he was right by saving Cartethia, while both times he was wrong. And now he thinks he's right by stopping Phrolova, while he's not wrong. But the way he went about it, the way that would have given him character development, the way that would have actually given him a real tangible change in his personality, would be for him to stop for a moment and think, am I really doing the right thing here? Maybe she has a point. Maybe I'm handling this the wrong way. Maybe I'm treating her too harshly. Maybe I'm judging her because of something I wasn't a part of, like he did with the Imperator. he should stop there and think for a moment, because then he would realize that he played a crucial role within this woman's demise. He completely drove her off the edge there. Also, he broke his promise with her and directly contributed to her losing her way and joining the Fractitus. Also, like one last thing before we continue, he directly handled this the wrong way by not apologizing, not being empathetic, and not trying to save Phrolova. Because if he tried to save Phrolova instead of being confrontative and a pretentious prick, then maybe she would have budged, because she isn't set in stone. She's debatable. The Grand Architect, again, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, the recording has been so long that I already forgot what I said like at the start. The Grand Architect knew Phrolova was hesitating because of the Rover. The Rover could get into her mind. He could get into her mind and convince her to move on. Because, she herself said maybe this time death will be real. Maybe if and like when she was bleeding out in his hands, she knew that if she died there, the Lost Beyond would be lost, and her family would move on, and she would just be like gone forever. But Rover healed her, and was like, if you wanted to die, I could have made this easier for you. Like, what do you mean, bro? What do you mean? That's so messed up.
Or like he deserves to have the moral high ground over Phrolova, and I'm just like,
yes,
he
doesn't. He doesn't deserve.
Let me make myself clear. The same chain of events could play out. He kills her.
Yes. But this exact same events could have played out, but if Rover was just a little bit more sympathetic, it would at least put the blame on Phrolova then for not falling to his sympathy, for not taking his suggestion into consideration. Because if he suggested, hello, hey, Phrolova, maybe we can do this, maybe we can bring them back, but not this way. This way is kinda, you've tried it many times. You've seen how TDs and humans don't really get along. If you try to fuse them, it won't work. You've tried it multiple times, it's not gonna work. We need to look at this from a different angle. We need to start over. Come with me and we'll fix this together. Maybe then, Phrolova would have not maybe then. We don't even have to consider that possibility. Then, if that happened, at least the blame would be on Phrolova for not taking his offered hand. At least he tried to offer his hand. But he didn't. He didn't even try to convince her to otherwise. He just basically didn't give her any other alternative. He just was like, you're wrong. What you're doing is wrong. What you're creating is hell, not paradise. The people are already dead. They can't be brought back to life. And that's it. He just closed off all the doors for her. And that's it. It's just staring at her, staring contest. Which is completely out of character and makes no logical sense in terms of actual story.
He's much more empathetic and understanding of why she is the way she is and how she got there. If he was just like, Phrolova, listen, I can only imagine the pain you've went through, losing all these people and shit. But the reality of the situation is this just isn't the way. And I don't even think I'm somebody who has the right to tell you this. But unfortunately, fate has it. I'm the one in this predicament with you, and I can't let you do this.
That would be the proper way to develop their character. It would at least mean that they saw the error in their own methods. They saw the error in their own judgments. They saw the error that maybe what they were doing is not always right, and apologized for the mistake that he made, and understood that maybe that not everything is white and black, and not everything is dark and light, and maybe this was also partly his fault. At least then, that would shift the blame on Phrolova for not taking his offered hand, for not taking his advice. But he didn't. He simply just closed off all the doors, all the possibilities for her. It was like, nope, you're wrong, you're evil, I'm gonna stop you. This is some sort of, I don't know, it's some sort of knight killing a dragon or something.
I'm sorry, it just can't happen. I have fucking empathy for you. I'm sad that this has happened to you, and I hate that I can't remember what happened in the past and the promise I broke.
Yes.
But his point still stands. You can't let this happen. If he would have came over like that, I don't think anybody would have hated him. They'd be like, damn, I feel him, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. No one would hate, bro. No one would be like, what the fuck is going on? Why is he saying this shit? Why? Because it's so out of the box for Rover's personality so far that everybody is was shocked Frankly, I think people were shocked from seeing this, and they like the reaction was shock initially, and then there are people who roots for that change, and other people who don't like that change, like me and Mr. Gacha Snack over here.
Also, he skipped a couple steps. Motherfucker went from
Yes.
A to D.
Yeah,
Right? He
yeah.
went from, all right, fuck it, I'm killing you, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was just... I mean, he didn't try to kill her, but that was kind of extreme, not gonna lie. Like, he just... And the fact that at the end, he was, like, staring at her going to the lost beyond, thinking that she might be dead. And he just, like, stood up, smiled, and just walked away happily, like he just didn't kill a person. Do you value human life, bro? You're the same person who values human life? You just walking away smiling like that for a person you just killed? Really?
Yo, we got a couple more steps there before you go straight to killing.
Yes, exactly.
Honestly,
Phrolova was completely debatable. I'll keep saying this to the end of the time. Phrolova was completely possible to just be talked down, and he just didn't try.
Most honestly logical way possible, because when shit hits the fan, you have to make quick and swift decisions. And
that's the reasonable, the explanation for it. Why he did that? This is why he did it, because he just couldn't think of any other possible situation to act out in that specific instant. It was just his instinct to just throw something at her, and it just so happened that he was carrying a sword, and it just so happened that it pierced through her chest.
Decision, right? I'm not saying Ro was fucking wrong. I'm just saying he was a real bitch and dickhead in how he handled that whole shebang, bro. That's pretty much like wrapping up my thoughts. Actually, you know what? I got a couple more things I want to talk about. Video ain't over yet. The promise ordeal, right? Everybody's like, she just met him for like 10 minutes in a play.
Exactly.
First, I agreed with y'all, but then after thinking about it, you gotta understand, guys. Again, this is a girl who lost everything.
There's a thing. She is a girl who lost everything, and he isn't just any other guy. This guy is the master arbiter. This guy is commanding godlike beings. This guy his word is law. People possibly worshipped him at some point because he was commanding their gods. So like, for him to make a promise, it should be a divine thing. It should be something that cannot be broken. But he broke it. He broke it, and not only that, he didn't apologize for breaking it. He's not seeing him breaking the promise as something that is wrong, which is completely ridiculous and out of character. At least in my opinion. You can debate me on it later, but like, this is my current opinion right now.
And had nobody else in the world. This was before she went on her fucking villain arc, guys, okay?
Yes.
She finally had met somebody where she had a connection with. With the level of trauma that she dealt with, brother, that 10 minutes to me finally, like, meeting somebody who can...
Yeah, and it's not just somebody who is understanding you, it's somebody who is very, very knowledgeable on so many aspects of life that he can understand your true emotions through a simple song. Like, it has to be someone you resonate with, if you understand what I'm meaning. Because, like, it's not just a random guy you just met at it's the master arbiter. She didn't know that, possibly. Who knows? Maybe she didn't know that. Maybe she knew that. But they're just not back. They just didn't come back for their promise. Like, in multiple towns, in multiple concerts, she waited for them. They didn't come back. It just drove her to insanity. Like, what the hell can you do after that point? Like, the only person that you had hope in just abandons you like that, obviously you're gonna go off the deep end.
Understand me on some capacity? That would be a lot more valuable to me as well. And then the guy fucking is charming, right?
Yes,
I'm like, I mean, she's attracted to him, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if you, there was like a few
get something going here. And
hints that possible romance would have developed had Rover actually stuck with his promise. Like, for example, if you had RTX on, I saw this as on Twitter at some point. If you have RTX on, you can see the reflection of the gem on the floor as a heart, which is probably intended. I mean, obviously the gem is shaped like that. It's intended. So like, it's kind of symbolism for also like the part where she says, "Oh, I once dreamed that we were dear to each other. I woke up to find out we were strangers." Yeah, that's just that's entirely Rover's fault.
To see me for my next play, bro. For somebody who's been in her type of trauma, I get it, man. I do.
Yes.
I fucking get it. I've never had that happen before, but I could understand. I can empathize. Most importantly, you see what I'm saying? And so that's my thoughts on that. I think there's even more stuff I can talk about between these two. But what I want you guys...
Yeah. Basically, Gacha Snack's take is completely on point. I would say it's there are some points that you can debate and some points that he might have missed. I'm not sure if he saw this before making the video, or maybe if he realizes that Phrolova isn't actually completely dead. In fact, she's not dead at all. And yeah, other than that, I think his take is completely safe, and as a conclusion to like this video itself and my reaction to it, I'd like to say that Phrolova, well, the way they handled this chapter is like putting a step back in Rover's personality advancement for the sake of exalting Phrolova and exalting everything else that is happening around them. And I don't think that's the right thing, the right move they needed to do, but it is a step in an unknown direction. So based on what happens after this, whether Rover gets hit with a reality check and understands that what he did is wrong, then maybe. If they just keep reinforcing his points and making him seem like the right person after all, and show him as this person who cannot possibly be wrong or something like that, then that would be just shit writing all around. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. This was my take on the real reason Rover is being viewed as hated and Phrolova is being exalted by the community. And yeah, if you like the video, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel to see more takes like these, and see my theories in the short section of the channel if you want to see them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.